welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, thank you so much for coming by. I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, please remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and feel free to share this video. For those of you returning visitors or subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you all enjoy this video. I will continue to post videos hopefully twice a week, but it looks like I'm averaging like one per week. So let's get started with what we're doing today. Today we will be making a tumbler. I have another video that shows making a tumbler using the clear shrink wrap. This one we will be using the shrink wrap that's pretty much made for sublimating tumblers and withstanding that heat, because sometimes with the clear shrink wrap it will split as you are sublimating it in your convection oven, and that shrink wrap is what makes it tight, or what makes that image really press into the tumbler. So this is a little more sturdier and it does not rip as much as the clear shrink wrap. So we will be using that, and I will be showing you all that today. And yeah, so to start, we need to make sure that we measure our tumbler so that when we get ready to design, we know exactly how large we need to make our template. This tumbler is actually a straight tumbler, so it's not tapered. The tapered ones kind of go down and kind of slims a little bit towards the bottom. This one stays the same dimensions all around, and personally I think this one is a lot easier to sublimate, or at least to design. You don't have to worry about measuring the bottom and bringing it in when you're designing. Okay, so we are going to measure. So I usually measure around. I already know how the dimensions. This is 9 1/4, and lengthwise it is 8 1/4. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add maybe about 1/10 of an inch to the template so that it can wrap nicely around when we get ready to sublimate it, because I don't want any white at the top and I don't want any white at the bottom. Okay, so that will give me a little bit more space so that I can ensure that every part of the tumbler is sublimated. All right, y'all, so let's get started. We're about to design and get this tumbler sublimated. All right, guys, so here we are in Illustrator, and what I already have set up is our square template for our tumbler. So this measures 9 1/4 by 8 1/2. I probably should have did the width a little bit larger. I usually do it a little bit larger than what I actually measure, but I don't want the seams to overlap too much. But the length is probably like 1/4 size larger. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to import a background into the square that we have here. And to do that, I am going to click over here into draw inside. So that way this is highlighted, and whatever I import will be placed inside of the square. So the design that I'm using, I already know exactly what it is that I want to do. This tumbler will be for, I have a student teacher, and she is almost done, and she will have her own classroom beginning in January. And as a gift to her from my class, I want to make her a basket, so this will go there. All right, so here is the image we put inside, and as you can see, no matter where I take it, it fits inside of the square. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to resize it to the size of our template. because I want to get all of those sparkles on it. I could have made it smaller. Okay, there we go. So you can always resize inside of the object that you are making. Okay, perfect. Alright guys, so we are going to input our text. Her name is Miss Young. And I am going to be using a font called Tumbled. It's actually one of my preferred fonts at the present moment. And I'll probably keep using it until I'm sick and tired of it. Alright, so we're going to make this a little bit larger, and what I want to do is I want to make it large as possible because I really want it to be seen, but also I don't want to have it go too far close to the edge because the edge will be pretty much wrapped around the brim or the rim of the tumbler and also the bottom of the tumbler. Okay, so you do want to be careful with that. And we are going to use Tumbled. It should be at the top. And here we are. Okay, I think I like all of the little squiggly goodness that this font offers. But what I am going to do is I want to use, I don't want that M. So I think that's gonna look nice. And I may resize it just a little bit. Okay, and so what we're gonna do next is I'm going to create an outline of the text, and then I will expand it. And this is so that I want to change the inside. I'm going to do an ombre inside. I'm just going to take an image off of Google. And so after I expand it, I need to create a compound path. And so by doing this, this compound path will allow me to input the background that I really want. So I'm just going to put a black background because I don't want to lose it. And I'm always losing the text once I do the compound path. And I'm going to... This is the gradient image that I want inside. I'm simply just going to copy the image. I'm not going to download anything. I'm just going to copy the image. Go back to Illustrator. Okay, so just like we input the background into our square, when we created the outline and we expanded and created the compound path, that turned the letters into objects. So you can now paste whatever background you want to paste it in. If you just want to paste it in the M, you can click specifically on the M and select that and just paste whatever you want in there. But I want our background to fill the entire name. So we're going to go back over here again, draw inside, and then all I'm going to simply do now is click paste. And so when it was pasted or inserted into the name, as you can see, it didn't go over all the names, but remember, this can be adjusted. So all we have to do is fill it to the point of where we want it to end, and I want it to cover the entire name. And then I am also going to adjust it here because I want the full color in it. So you just keep adjusting it until that color looks good, and that's how I want it. I like that gradient look. Okay, so we're pretty much done. I'm not really doing anything else to this tumbler. Nothing fancy, just putting her name on it, and we're ready to print it. So of course we're going to go up to print. Over here, it's actually the size that I want, but I'm going to just go to page setup just to look at it. And it is borderless, so this will print from edge to edge. And once I click onto setup, I want to make sure that my print settings are exactly what I want it to be. And it looks like they are. Here's borderless printing is checked because I selected that option when I did the page setup. Now, if you are trying to do this and you don't see that option, it's possible that your printer does not have the borderless print option. Okay. There is one other thing that I want to show you. Let me cancel out of here. All of my settings are good. So around the box of your template, there was I had put a black box around it, outline. What you want to do is you want to make sure you select it and you click it, take away that black box, because if not, it will print on your paper. And I just like for it to be a nice clean. I don't want any borders around the templates that I use. So that's all set. Now we're going to go back to print. Let me just check here. It's set up. Just want to make sure I have the colors options that I want. And I do. So it's Adobe. In this one you get, you can either do Epson or Adobe. There are other ways that you can switch the colors around, but this pretty much prints very good for me. So I'm going to leave it exactly like that. Always make sure that you mirror your image. It doesn't hurt to double, triple check. And now we are ready to print. All right, y'all. So our image is printed. And now we are going to just trim around the edges. Okay, what I did, I already preheated the oven so that it can, the convection oven, so that it can be ready when we get ready to place this inside. And it's at 400 degrees, and we're going to sublimate this for 6 minutes. Okay, so I don't know if you remember, I said that I wanted it to kind of fit and then have a little bit where it can wrap. And so this looks like this is going to fit just fine. So I'm going to now wrap it. And then as you can see, it just goes over slightly. Okay. What I'm going to do is do 1 or 2. So we're going to start taping it. Okay. While you're doing it, make sure that you are pulling, because you don't want it to be loose. Even though the shrink wrap will help it, you still want to make sure you're giving it as much opportunity as you can to make sure that this ink adheres to the tumbler. We are going to put that down. And so our measurement, you see it's almost right there, not too much over, it's just a little, and that's fine for me. You can trim that if you want. I don't know if you guys can see how much, but you see how much is over? You can trim that if you want so that it doesn't, because remember, this ink is going to bleed through to the other side. Okay. So if you want to trim it, I'm not going to trim mine. And that way, at least you guys can see with me not trimming it. But certain colors and things you want to trim, but this is pretty much the same color, and it has that glitter component right there. Just tape. With the straight tumbler, it's kind of easier to wrap it tightly The tapered is a little bit difficult if you don't have the template for the tapered tumbler, okay? So you definitely want to make sure you have that template. That makes it a lot easier. Okay, make sure that you are taping down those edges because you want the sublimation paper to make contact very tightly, very closely with your tumbler. Okay, that's to prevent any fading around those areas. And you just keep taping. All right, so this is all taped and it's very tight. I'm just gonna tape this down. Put another little piece of tape. All right, so what we're gonna do next is I just want to show you all the difference. So I used this heat wrap before, or in another one of the tumbler videos, I used this heat wrap. But this is the one that it's pretty much recommended for when you're doing your sublimation tumblers, okay? It's not transparent, it is white. And so what we'll do is we will stick it inside, and I'm going to get the heat gun and we are going to shrink wrap this around, okay? All right guys, so we have our heat gun and we have our shrink wrap, and we are simply going to make sure that this is nice and secure around our tumbler. That will give it a little extra support to really cling to the tumbler, okay, for the image to cling. So let's get started. All right guys, slow even strokes work best for me, and make sure to get the bubbles out, okay? So we are going to get ready to take this into we're going to get ready to take this and put this inside of the convection oven, okay? Okay y'all, so we are now at our convection oven and we're going to put the tumbler inside. I have my oven thermometer inside and it's telling me that it is at 400 degrees. So you want to make sure you have an oven thermometer too, because sometimes when you're putting the tumblers in, the heat may be uneven. It may not be, you may have it set on a timer or set at 400 and it may not be there. You may put it in too quickly. So it's always a good idea to have your oven thermometer inside just to make sure that your heat is at the correct temperature. Remember, when opening and closing the convection oven, your temperature will go down, so keep that in mind. Yeah, that's it. We're gonna get ready to put this in. I got this silicone mat from IKEA, and I got it because sometimes like the tape would burn at the bottom and it would give off an odor, but that's really the main reason, and I didn't want anything to stick. So we're gonna let this sit in for about 6 minutes and we should be all set. All right guys, so we're all done. It's been 6 minutes. I did rotate it halfway in between, but I'm not sure if you guys can see, but you can pretty much see the name through the shrink wrap, and you can see like the confetti glitter a little bit. I want you guys to like just see how this particular shrink wrap did not burst or did not tear apart while it was inside of the convection oven. So that right there, of course, naturally is a plus, and it does have like a little should be a thing to just, there you go, just has to give a little bit, and we are going to unwrap it. Okay, now we just gotta, let's go from here. Where's that seam? All right. this. And I've learned a long time not to scrape the front. So I try to get a piece that's not necessarily that close to the front. Okay. And uh-oh. There we go. As you can see, all the color pretty much came off of that sublimation paper. All right, y'all. So we are all done sublimating our tumbler, our skinny straight tumbler, using the other shrink wrap. This particular shrink wrap I think is specifically made for withstanding the heat inside of our convection ovens, and also for the process of sublimation. So I would definitely recommend that particular shrink wrap. I think that I could have left this in the oven for less time than what I did, maybe 4 minutes. As you all saw, that ink transferred to this tumbler. There was no ink left on our sublimation paper. And this is what we have. That seam is pretty seamless. I don't know if you guys can tell. The bottom of our cup is nicely sublimated. That ink transferred beautifully onto that bottom. The top, again, there is no white on that top at all because we pretty much wrapped it. We made the template just a little larger. And yeah, the only thing different I would say is I would maybe put my shop's decal or another D. You can put whatever you want, initials on the bottom. But yeah, pretty happy with that. So if you all enjoyed this tutorial, if you learned something new, please be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with others who may need it. Okay, again, thank you for watching, and until next time.